Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. So I've been away for quite a while because I've been going through a lot of stuff, but I don't want to spend the whole first part of the video talking about it because it's all blah 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 rubbish. But yeah, I have been away for a while, so I'm really trying to get back into the swing of things. I do want to share something before I get into the video. So this is very important to me because I am a survivor myself, and I wanted to share the abuse survivor keychains that I have been making. And at first I was really worried about making it because it doesn't seem like something to be proud of, but actually after having it in my hand, I am proud that I am a survivor and I have survived it. And there are people that are still going through it and will eventually be a survivor themselves. But I have these up on my Etsy if you guys would like to check them out, for a friend, family member, or even for yourself. Treat yourself, you deserve one of these. And I feel like it's important for people to see on your bags and stuff to really encourage other people without even knowing. So yeah, definitely go check out my Etsy for one of these. Okay, so what I've been up to, I have been making a head base, and I did have videos of me doing all of the pieces, except they're gone now. And I can't get them back, which is very annoying. So we do have a lot of things that are already done, but I actually had to restart anyway because there were things that I weren't happy with, and then things that went on wrong, and I was just having a really bad time with it. Whereas now I am ready to get started, and I feel like this way I can still show you guys roughly what I was doing. So this is a Dutch angel dragon, I believe, and as you can see, I've already done the Kloofsuits head base from the original canine pattern, because I believe she has more patterns up now. And when I glued it down, it decided to glue through the balaclava onto the head. Luckily it just peels off nicely. But I've glued the bucket base onto the balaclava by adding some glue across the top, and then placing the balaclava on, holding it down, and then I peeled back some of the foam and just added some more glue in. And then I also have glued the chin to the balaclava because this way it stops it pulling up over to the lip, and it keeps the chin in the right place. Now I've already cut out the eye holes because it's very important to know where the eyes are when you're placing on the muzzle and the cheek pieces. And of course I've opened up the mouth nicely, just like the pattern shows. So as you can see, I've already made the muzzle. Now the reason why this video is going to be a little bit different because we are using the Mugiwara cosplay pattern. Apart from the base was Kloofsuits, except she uses thicker foams, whereas I can't get a hold of thicker foams because I need enough room for all of the things that I make with my business, and I don't have enough room for everything, so I have to use 1 inch and 1/2 inch pieces of foam. As you can tell, the base was made with 1/2 inch pieces of foam and then glued together. I do already have a video if you want to check that out, or you can check out Kloofsuits video, or both. And for the mouth pieces, we have 2 1 inch pieces for the bridge from the pattern. Then for the upper nose piece, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of 1 inch foam put together to make the mouthpiece. Now Dutch angel dragons aren't really like canines. They have a kind of long mouthpiece, but as you can see here, I did cut out a bit here, but actually Dutch angel dragons have more of a curved horse-like rather than dog dragon-like, if that makes sense. And on the bottom of the jaw, I've done 4 pieces of 1 inch as well. And as you can see, I spent a lot of time carving this down to get it perfect, and it did take me a very long time, and it will take you a very long time, but as you can see, because I've had to restart, my biggest thing to tell you is to take your time. No matter what, just take your time, do it, go as slow as you want, watch something as you do it, and start off small, because it's easier to cut small pieces off than it is to reattach pieces because you've cut a big chunk off. Just really take your time with it. As you can see, it's all joined together because it was already glued onto a base, and I still have the base back bit on here. So if you want it to be exactly like mine, what you could do is create a pattern and use 1/2 inch foam and place it on over this bit around the mouth here, so it's already together. And as you can see, on the inside we have already carved it out. So what I did with the muzzle pattern, so if you look at it from the side, this would be the whole pattern, whereas what I did was I cut 2 pieces out of the whole pattern. Then for the inner 2 pieces, I cut the pattern like this, here, along here, and I cut only the top bit down, and this created the inner bit, so I didn't have to do as much carving. You might want to neaten it up, obviously, and you've got to curve it on in, but then once I put them all together, I didn't have to spend ages trying to carve out the middle bit without carving it too thin or leaving it too thick. And I did the same with the top base bit here. So this was the main base shape, so I cut 2 pieces out of this, and then on the pattern I created a new pattern that went like that, and across and down, leaving only the front bit and back. Now look at your pattern, take time to figure out how you want it, but you don't want it too thick or too thin, but you do want a lot of space in here. As you can see, I neatened it up as best as I could because my cutting wasn't great, but it created that in a bit once I glued all of the pieces together. And that was it. So that way I've got the inner bits carved out, so there's enough breathability, and it also helps create an effect, and it's a nice dip for the tongue to sit on and the teeth to have enough space. So we are going to be gluing this onto the head base as best as we can. Now it's a little bit hard because you want to line up the lower jaw with the lower base, but it's okay if it goes over just a little bit because you don't want to have it going like this, and as you can see the eyes are all covered, so you want it just below the eyes, so this kind of curvy bit here lines up nicely with the eyes. Obviously you would do these pieces separately and it might be a little bit easier, but you want to take your time and really push that glue down. Now when it comes to the cheek pieces, I originally had these two. As you can see, they're both facing the same way. So I would glue this bit on here, and then this one couldn't glue there because it was wrong. It's exactly the same as this side, so it would literally be like that. And we want one on each side. So make sure when you're carving to check, so this is the new bit, I put don't cut this side, okay? Don't cut. I'm not going to cut this side, otherwise we'll have two left sides. We want a left side and a right side, so keep an eye on those bits. But as you can see, I did 2 1-inch pieces. This bit has got a bit of a glue thing on because I did put off the old base, because I managed to salvage these pieces, so I didn't have to redo them. But I'm going to try and carve it to look as exactly the same as possible because you do want it to be as even as possible. And then we are going to glue these on after gluing on the mouth pieces. So I'm going to get carving and I'll be back in 2 seconds because of the power of editing. Yay! Okay, so I have carved both pieces and they are looking pretty similar, and I've compared them to size. They're exactly the same on both sides, and it did take me a little while. As you can see, it's not perfectly smooth, like you can see the bumps and ridges, but when you run your finger over it, it is pretty smooth, which is perfect amount, because you don't, like, you can have it really smooth, but you don't need it to be super smooth. You just need it smooth enough that when you put the fur on top, that it's all cool. You feeling me? Okay, so I put my glue gun on, my hot glue gun, and a tip is to put it on the highest setting first, because then it allows itself to heat up to a higher temperature, which means it heats up quicker than putting it onto the lowest setting. But I'm going to change it to the lowest setting once it's heated up, because we don't want it too hot, if that makes sense. And the first thing I'm going to be doing is adding glue to the bottom of this mouthpiece, the lower jaw bit, and then I'm going to glue that on, and then I'm going to glue the middle bit and then the top bit. But basically I'm just going to be gluing on the muzzle and that, and you would glue these pieces on first as well. Well, that's what I'm doing at least. So I do want to point out that I do end up watching Markiplier, some of their old Uno games, so I recommend doing that while you're doing this, because they're very funny. But yeah, I look like shit because I'm exhausted and it's only the morning. I've had a shower and showers tire me out so much, and so do baths. It's like so exhausting for me. So yeah, I do look like shit, and please bear with me. And as you can see, my arms get really tired, so I use my head sometimes just to kind of lean it on, and it really helps keep the glue down. But it is a long process, so I do recommend watching something in the meantime, because you want to make sure that glue is dry, because otherwise it's going to move, shift, or even just fall off while you're doing something else, and it's not good. I use a pen here just because I'm not gluing the base bit, because as you can see there's that nose bit and I don't want to add glue and it glues to the nose, so I used a pen to go round and then add glue to that bit. It just made it a whole lot easier. And then once it was on, I needed to carve it down more. It started to look less even, and that can happen even if you get it perfectly even when you're doing the original carving. Once it's glued on, because of the way you glue it to base it around the base, it can become or look slightly uneven. So now I'm starting to put on the cheek pieces. So you want them to curve around the eye, that big curve up around the eye, and I add a bit of glue on the first bit, and then I try and glue it to the muzzle. Now this does pull the muzzle one way slightly, so I do the same on the other side, and you know, then I figure out I actually don't want it completely together, I'm just going to put some foam in there, but do bits at a time. After doing that first bit of the cheek, I add about, I don't know, 4 inches worth on the rest of the cheek, and then another 4 inches. So yeah. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I just took off this bottom bit because it wasn't even, so it was really easy to just peel up and cut, and then I just glued it back down more evenly. But yeah, then it was just complete carving from then on, just carving and carving and carving, trying to make it look as even as possible. And as you can see, it kind of felt to be already happy, which I really love. So I'm really happy with how it's turning out so far. Very happy with it. But yeah, definitely take your time with the carving, and you know, it's a long process, but do it. And as you can see, I started gluing it on bits because I cut 2 big pieces off and yada yada yada, the usual.
Right, boss, I'm doing a good job. Where's my performance review? I need a raise. Come on, baby. Oh, what? Yeah.
Okay, so now that we have the cheeks and the muzzle on, I'm going to add some extra plumpness to the cheeks because I feel like it's really blocky at the moment, and I would like some more. I'm also probably going to carve it down a bit more on this side, try and make it more even, obviously doing little bits at a time. Yeah, and just slowly work my way through making it more even, funkier, curvier, if that makes sense. So I kind of want it to go out like I'm gonna create a bowl shape, so I'm probably just gonna draw a circle on some paper, cut it out, and then add a bit and carve around so it's still carved nicely. The muzzle I'm gonna keep the same. I probably won't add anything here, but I'll probably fill in these bits because otherwise it's just gonna be a weird gap anyway. I just kind of want to blend it in. And then obviously we have the eyebrows to put on. And I think that will be about it for the head base. Oh, and of course ears. The ears are pretty much one of the main features, so you can't forget those. But that will be in the next video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do want to see me make more stuff with the patterns, I do plan on making a video using the Spilt Grape Soda pattern, her new pattern for the Digigrade feet paws, and I'm very excited to do that. I've already got the stuff, and I just have to wait for the fur to arrive from America because there's a lovely customer who is commissioning me to make the feet paws for the video, so thank you very much. But yeah, I will make, so if you have any pattern suggestions that you would like me to have a look at, then comment them down below and I'll definitely have a look and review them, try them out, see how they work, and we'll get through it. So yeah, see you guys next time. Bye!